is the objectivity versus subjectivity. And again, this does go back to the morality of or versus legality of delivering a baby from a case of rape, but in a different sense where, what's a man, what's a woman? Is that objective? Is that subjective? I would say, the very easy way of looking at it, and I think, quote unquote, the right way of looking at it are looking at chromosomes, right? You have XX, XY, and then in the very rare case, you have a weird XXY or XYYY, and you have hermaphrodites. But I think it should be clear for everyone this day and age, you're either just playing pretend or you're delusional or, some sort of schizophrenic. Willing to have those conversations if you disagree, but I think it's very black and white in a case like that where I would say, perception is reality in a lot of cases, right? That, people can look at the same information and have a totally different understanding or interpretation of what they're looking at. But again, just got to take it by a case-by-case basis and, think, hey, is this a hill that's worth dying on by saying, anyone that just chooses to identify as a woman can be a woman? Personally, that's not the hill I'm willing to die on. But let's take a look at this clip as well.
Black?
That's how we define it in society, no shit.
Okay, got it. So, but is there an objective definition of who is black?
Wait, language is all subjective. Linguistics professionals indicate it's subjective.
Language is all subjective?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
Every
really?
word you just used was created by other human beings that are engaging in conversation.
Got it. No, now
you might think it's created by God, but even then it's still subjective.
Got it. But now we're getting somewhere.
God's a subject.
Now we're getting somewhere. Is the word and the value behind murder objective or subjective?
Well, I think morality is subjective. But you think it's subjective too because it comes from God.
That's interesting.
Wait, does it come from God or independent of God?
Well, no, of course it comes from God. It's transcendent.
That's subjective. That's subjective. Yes, it is.
No.
If it comes from God, it's specifically subjective. If it comes independent of God, then it's objective.
No,
what you just told me is also compatible with moral anti-realism.
So let's go back to the Ten Commandments.
So, and this is where I start to differ with Charlie Kirk. I don't think there is such thing as an objective God. I think the best way I've ever heard it framed is man created God. God did not create man. And I do think of God in the sense of existence, right? And this is kind of talked about in the Christian sense as well, being omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. And I look at that like we're all products of God, not just as people, but as any living being, or even, as crazy as this may sound, like the tablecloth, the table. I mean, we're all really just stardust, all part of really one larger being in existence, right? And I think if you look at God that way, yeah, you could say there is an objectivity to it, not one that I think us as humans will ever come to understand. But otherwise, we by and large do live in a subjective reality. You make life of it what you will, right? If, I don't believe in this objective hell or heaven, it's, again, you make life of it what you will. If you want to make your life a living hell, very easy to do that. If you want to make your life living heaven, more power to you. I think that was a big believer of what Charlie Kirk was doing, even though he also probably thought about, heaven in a more traditional sense in the afterlife. But in any case, I don't want to get too caught up in, transports. I think that's been, the horse has been beaten with the stick. The dead horse has been beaten over with the stick, more times than really should even be in the